Hello students. So in our today's module we'll be studying about the types of simple permanent tissue. Yesterday students we had discussed the permanent tissue and we had also discussed the classification, right? So you can see here the simple permanent tissue. This is what we are going to deal now in our today's module. So you can see here students talking about the types of simple permanent tissue. It is basically of three types, right? So you can see here the first one we have is the parenchyma, which are living cells. Second we have is the collenchyma, fine, which are also living cell. And third we are having is the sclerenchyma. So these are the three different types of simple permanent tissue. Today we'll be discussing about the simple permanent tissue only, students. So talking about their characteristics first, right? Moving on to the parenchyma, which is the first type. So we can see here that it is the basic, most simple packaging tissue which basically fills the space between other tissue. Fine. So it is known as the packaging tissue. Very important thing, students. It is known as packaging tissue. Fine. Because it fills the space that is left, fine, between other tissue. And that is why this is found the most abundant in plants. Second, students, that it has undifferentiated cells with thin cell walls that is made up of cellulose, right? It has thin cell wall. Next we have is that they have large intercellular space. Remember this point, students, very important. They have large intercellular spaces between them. Fine. Suppose this is one cell, this is another cell. So there is lot of space, fine, between these cells. This is what the intercellular space is. So that is why they are loosely packed. Fine. I'm going to show you first of all the diagram of this parenchyma. So you can see here. Fine. There is a lot of intercellular space between them. Next, students, cells have dense cytoplasm and large vacuole, plus they have the nucleus also. Remember this important point, students, that parenchyma cells, they have dense cytoplasm, have nucleus and large vacuole. Fine, these are the living cells. Remember this point. Now coming on to the characteristics of collenchyma, right? See, students, these are the cells, the collenchymatous cells. These are the cells that are living. They are elongated and irregularly thick at the corners. Fine. They are also made up of cellulose or maybe pectin. Remember this thing, students, they are thick at the corners. Fine. They are thick at the corners. Fine. Next, you can see here they have very less or no intercellular space. So if they are having intercellular space, that space will be very less. Fine. But talking about parenchyma, they have large intercellular space in them. Next, students, we have the third point, that is cells have a nucleus, dense cytoplasm and large vacuole. Fine, as that of parenchyma. Third one we have is the sclerenchyma, right, students? So in sclerenchyma, the cells, talking about their cells, they are long, narrow, thick-walled cells due to deposition of lignin. Very important. Lignin is a chemical substance, student, which acts as cement and hardens them. Fine, it hardens them. It's basically a chemical substance which hardens them. So you can see here, I would like to show you the picture, I would say the structure of sclerenchyma here. Look here, students. Deposition of lignin is there. Fine, you can see here. This is the structure of sclerenchyma. Next, students, one more point is left here. Such cell wall, they are called lignified walls and have pits in them that I have already shown you. Look here. Fine, they have the lignified thick wall, you can see, and a narrow lumen is present. Next, students, no intercellular space due to lignin deposition. See what happens, there is a deposition of lignin in them, fine, due to which what happens, that there is no intercellular space, fine. And the last point is these cells, which cells, the sclerenchymatous cells, they do not have a nucleus and cytoplasm. They do not have a nucleus and cytoplasm. Very important point. Next, students, coming on to the functions, right? So first point you can see here. Now this one is parenchyma, fine. This one is collenchyma and this one is sclerenchyma. So you can see here the very first point is of parenchyma is that it provides support to the plant. It provides support to the plants, and parenchyma of stems and roots stores nutrients and water, and that is why it is called a storage parenchyma. Fine. So it acts as a storage tissue, students. Fine. And which thing is stored? The nutrients and water. Very important thing. Students, when it contains chloroplast having chlorophyll and perform photosynthesis, at that time this parenchyma is said to be chlorenchyma. So this point is very important. Listen to me very carefully, students. We are dealing up with the parenchyma tissue, right, which is a simple type, and second category is arenchyma. So parenchyma is having two categories. First one is the chlorenchyma and second one we have is the arenchyma, right, students? See, now look here. The first point I am going to show you again. See, it is chlorenchyma and arenchyma. So first of all, we should know what is chlorenchyma and what is arenchyma. So chlorenchyma, basically, students, when these parenchyma, they contains chloroplast, and they if they contain chloroplast, definitely they'll be having a pigment, that is chlorophyll, right? And if they're having this chlorophyll, they're going to perform the photosynthesis, right? So at that time, these parenchyma cells, they are called chlorenchyma. So from chlorophyll you can learn this thing, that it is chlorenchyma. Second, students, these parenchyma in aquatic plants. Aquatic plants means which lives in water, right? So in aquatic plants, these parenchyma has large air spaces to provide buoyancy, the upliftment. Fine, they can float on the surface of water. That buoyancy is basically provided by the due to the large air spaces, fine, in plants, which helps them to float and which helps them in exchange of gases. So at that time, this parenchyma is said to be arenchyma. Fine, they float like airy. Fine, they have a lot of air spaces. That is why arenchyma. I hope I am clear, students. Next we have is the collenchyma. So the function of collenchyma is that it provides flexibility. Fine, it provides flexibility, the flexible thing, and mechanical support to which part? To aerial parts of plant. And what are the aerial parts, students? Which is above the ground, which is basically above the ground. For example, we have leaves, we have stems, right? And the most important characteristics, features, or I would say the function is that these collenchyma tissue, they basically helps the plant to bend them. So the easy bending, when you can, like for example, you are having a rose plant, you are having any plant, and you are bending them. So that bending is basically done only due to the collenchyma or because of this collenchyma, right, students? So you can see here, this looks like something like this. So they have cell wall, nucleus, and a large vacuole. Fine. The last one we have is the sclerenchyma, students, which gives rigidity and strength. Fine, which gives rigidity and strength to the plant. And if it is giving rigidity and strength to the plant, so it makes it hard and tough to bear stress and strain. Any kind of stress and strain will not be there because it gives the rigidity and strength to the plant. Here comes, students, the last thing, that is the location. So we should know where does the parenchyma is located, where does the collenchyma is located, and where sclerenchyma is located, right? PCS. So, very simple. Location of parenchyma. They are found in non-woody or soft part of root, stem, leaves, flowers and fruit. Very important thing, students. This is the diagram, the transfer section of the parenchyma. You can see here. Fine. This is the nucleus. These are the chloroplast. A large vacuole is there. This is a vacuole which I am showing you with the green color. This is a vacuole, right? The white colored substance you can see here, students, is the vacuole, right? And remember this thing, that they are only present in the soft parts of roots, stems, leaves, flowers and fruits. Fine. Next we have, students, that the collenchyma. So they are found in the stalks of the leaves. Like you can see here, this one is the stalk. You can see here the part with the help of which the leaf is attached. Fine. This is what the stalk is. Look here again. This is the stalk. Fine, students. Then below epidermis of leaves and stems. Epidermis is a layer, student, that we are going to study just after this topic. So below the epidermis of leaves and stem, it is present. And talking about the sclerenchyma, they are found in stems, around vascular bundles, in the veins of leaves. Vascular bundle, I have already made you clear, students, what are the vascular bundles in our previous lecture. And in the veins of leaves. So suppose this is a leaf, right? You can see these are the veins. These are the veins of leaf. Fine. So they are also present in the veins of leaves. And plus you can see here the diagram. I'm going to show you the diagram. See, this one is the collenchyma. The collenchyma diagram. Fine. And this one is the sclerenchyma. You can see that lignified wall is present here. I hope this topic is clear to each one of you, students. Moving on to the next one, that is epidermis. Fine. Now here is a experiment, or I would say activity, that we are going to perform practically. But here I want everybody to listen what exactly we have done. So we are going to study about the epidermis. For that, what we have to do, we have to take a fresh leaf. Fine. we'll be taking the leaf of Rio plant. Now what we have to do, we have to stretch it and break it by applying the pressure. Remember one thing, students, while breaking it, third point, while breaking it, keep it stretched gently so that some peel or skin project out from the cut. Now remove that peel, just like we did the onion peel experiment, student. You might have done this thing in your 8th or 7th standard. And then put it into a petri dish. Petri dish is a container. Fine. So you have to put this leaf into this petri dish. Fine. Put this into this petri dish. Add little bit of water to it and a few drops of saffronin. Fine. What you have to do? Add water and saffronin. This is a red color pigment. Fine. Which helps in identifying. Basically, after adding the saffronin, the cells will look more prominent. Fine. Then what we have to do? We have removed the peel. We have kept it into kept that peel into the water. Fine. And a few drops of saffronin has also been added to it. Now you have to wait for few minutes, students, and then transfer it into the slide. So you all know what is slide now. It looks like this. Then you have to keep it here on the cover slip. Fine. You have to gently place the cover slip onto that leaf or that peel, I would say, and then observe it under the microscope. So here the structure, you would see something like this. Look here, students. This is what the structure is. Fine. You can see here, this one is the epidermis. This one is the stoma, the opening, I would say, and these are the guard cells. Fine. The gases exchange is being done by these stomatas. So when observed under microscope, outermost layer is said to be the epidermis. Fine. This is the outermost layer. Look here. This is the outermost layer. So this outermost layer is said to be epidermis, right? And it is a protective layer. Very important thing, students. Epidermis is a protective layer. So if it is protective layer, what will be its main function? Its main function would be to protect the plant. Fine. From heat or kind of cold or any other infection. So it will protect the plant from infection. And it is made up of a single layer of cell. Very important thing, students. A single layer. So this epidermis is made up of a single layer that are flat and they do not have any intercellular space between them. Very important point. Fine. And their outer and side walls are thicker than the inner wall. outer and side wall are thicker. So you can see here epidermis, we have these outer, see these outer layers, they are thicker. Fine, I hope I am clear, students. These are much more thicker. Fine. In plants of dry habitat, fine, those plants who live in dry habitat, students, like deserts areas, so the epidermis is very thick in them. Do you know why? Because in order to prevent water loss, fine, there will be less transpiration, and they has thick waxy layer of cutin. Fine, thick waxy layer of cutin is there, and this cutin is basically, this waxy layer of cutin helps, it's basically acts like a waterproof kind of thing. Fine, so waterproof, so it means that if the layer would be waxy, so no more extra amount of water would come outside. Fine, so transpiration would be less, because in dry habitat water is like is very very essential for plants as well. So we don't want our like our plants to lose much amount of water. Fine, and what happens in aerial parts of the plant? Epidermis, they secrete this cuticle waxy water resistance layer that is made up of cutin on their outer surface. So what does this cutin exactly does, students? Very important point here. What does this cutin does? It basically this cuticle, they prevents the loss of water, any kind of mechanical injury, or if some, like if parasitic fungi they are invaded inside the plant, or they invade any part of the plant, so that thing would not be there. Fine, so this cuticle will help that plant, fine, from any invasion of parasitic fungi. And the last one we have is the epidermal cells of roots. They have long root hairs which increase the surface area for absorption of water. So if these epidermal hairs, some of the epidermal hairs, they are present inside the roots also, students, fine, on the root surface. So if these epidermal cells, they are present on the roots, what will happen? They will increase the surface area. And if surface area will be increased, what would happen? The absorption of water will be more. So more amount of water will be absorbed by the roots. I hope I am clear, students. Very very important concept. See, it's very simple. They are talking about the epidermal structure and their function. So layer of cells are there which covers the entire plant. So that will be helping, basically it acts like a barrier to, for what? For microorganism and pathogens. So pathogens and microorganisms, they will not be will not be able to attack to the plant, fine, due to this layer, that is the epidermis. Next one we have is that layer is thin and transparent. Okay, fine, we have got it that layer is thin and transparent, that comes under the structure. So why this layer is thin and transparent? Because if it will be thin and transparent, it will allow the light to pass for photosynthesis in the tissue below. Fine. Next, epidermal tissue have tiny hairs projecting from surface of epidermis. They are known as trichomes, and they are abundant in some plant leaves. And what will be their function? Leaf trichomes, they trap water to prevent water loss. So if they see, these are the trichomes, the tiny hair-like structures, they are projected from the surface of epidermis. Suppose this is epidermis, students. This is epidermis, and listen, this is epidermis, fine, and there are a lot of trichomes are there, lot of trichomes, thread-like structure. So what will happen? What does these trichomes will do? They will trap the water. Fine. If they will trap the water, water loss will be less. I hope I am clear, students. Very important point. Now, students, next one. Epidermal tissue in leaves. Leaves, the tissues, the epidermal tissue that are present in leaves, they are covered with a waxy cuticle. I have already told you, if these epidermal hairs, see, what we have discussed, if the epidermal hairs, they are present in the roots, so the trichomes we have done, fine, root hairs will increase the surface areas. We had already discussed this thing, students, that root hairs, they increase the surface area, and if surface area would be increased, what will happen? The absorption of water from the soil would be more. Fine. Similarly, the next point, if epidermal tissue in leaves, they are covered with waxy cuticle, what will happen? The waxy cuticle prevents the water loss from leaves. There would be less water loss, basically. The less water will be lost, so the transpiration would be less. Fine. Next we have is, students, some epidermal cells secrete poisonous or bad tasting substance. Why? Why do some epidermal cells does this thing? Because students, the bitter taste of the substance prevent grazing by animals. Animal would not graze these plant because they are very much poisonous and the taste is quite bitter, right? Next we have is students, very important point, stomata. We should know what is stomata. So the tiny pod like structure, you can see these are the stomatas. Fine. These are the tiny structures and these are the stomata. Fine, something like this. Kidney shaped cell, this is stoma. These are the two guard cells. We have already discussed this thing. And they are basically the epidermis of leaf. Fine, the uppermost part of the leaf. They are covered lot of pores which are of kidney shaped. Fine, so they are known as stomata. And what is the function of stomata? First one we have is the exchange of gases. Next is transpiration. Fine, loss of water in the form of water vapor. So it helps in conduction of water and minerals from root to other parts of the plant. Fine, you know what is transpiration, students. Fine, so the two main functions, they are being performed up by the stomata. Now the next thing is we have is the outer layer of branch of tree different from the outer layer of young stem. See what exactly happens as plant grow older. The outer protective tissue, that is called epidermis, it starts changing, students. It basically get replaced by the secondary meristem. Fine. Meristem, you know, na, which keeps on dividing. But here we are talking about the secondary meristem. Fine. So these, they are replaced by the secondary meristem, which gives new cells on both sides. Cells on the outside, they are cut off from this layer, and this forms the several layer thick cork or the bark of the tree. So you know what is the bark of the tree? That is formed by this thing only, students. Fine. And cells of cork are dead and tightly arranged without the intercellular spaces. There is no intercellular spaces between them. And they have a chemical that is called suberin in their walls, which makes them impervious to gases and water. Fine. So gases and water impermeability occurs. Next we have is the cork. Fine. So protective in nature, they prevent the loss of water from plant and injury, as it does not catch fire easily and is light. It is used as an insulator and in sports goods. So this is what the structure of cork, which act as a protective tissue. It looks like these are the cork cells. Fine. And this is what the ruptured epidermis is, because when the epidermis gets ruptured, so this is how the cork cells, they are formed. Fine. I hope this topic is clear to each one of you students. This was all about today's module. In tomorrow's module, we'll be studying about the complex permanent tissue. Thank you.